Welcome to the Brain Alpha. Today, we're diving into a powerful success habit that some of the world's top performers absolutely swear by, even if it sounds a little, well, out there at first.
I mean, seriously, what if you could actually achieve your biggest, wildest dreams by doing something as simple as making a collage? It sounds like magic, right? But what if I told you that's exactly what some of the most successful people on the planet do? Yep, it's called a vision board. And I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds a little bit like wishful thinking. But what's so fascinating is how this simple practice actually mixes that kind of big dreaming with some very real, very powerful brain science. So what is a vision board really? Well, it's basically a collage. You take pictures, words, affirmations, anything that represents what you want your life to look and feel like, and you stick it on a board. You want that beach house? Find a picture of it. You want to launch that company? Find an image that screams success to you. You put it somewhere you'll see it every single day, and that's the starting point. Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty science of how this actually works, let's talk results. Let's look at the proof. Because an incredible number of A-list stars and absolute titans of industry swear by this method. Our first case file is just a perfect example of this in action. It's about a comedian who, long before anyone knew his name, literally wrote his own multi-million-dollar paycheck.
We're talking about Jim Carrey, way before he was, Jim Carrey. Back in the early 90s, he was a struggling actor, just trying to make it, facing rejection after rejection. But he did something pretty unusual. He pulled out a checkbook, wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, and get this, he dated it 3 years in the future. He kept that check in his wallet and looked at it every single day, imagining what it would feel like to earn that money. And incredibly, right around Thanksgiving of 1995, just about 3 years later, he was paid over $10 million for his work. It actually happened.
All right, next up, a pop superstar who used this exact same idea to map out her path to global domination and Grammy-level success. Global superstar Katy Perry is another huge believer. From the very start of her career, she was using vision boards to lock in these huge specific goals. We're talking winning a Grammy, headlining stadium tours, being on the cover of magazines, the whole shebang. And I love how she put it. It's a way to make my dreams feel much closer. That's what drives me to action. So for her, the board wasn't some magic wand. It was a catalyst. It made those giant dreams feel real, tangible, and it kept her focused. And yeah, she ended up achieving every single one of those goals. And for our last case file, let's look at a true media mogul whose vision board led her down a path she didn't expect, but one that turned out to be even more powerful. Oprah Winfrey. I mean, we all know Oprah. She put a very specific goal on her board. She wanted to star in the movie Dreamgirls. But what happened next is what's so cool about this, and it shows how these things can work in some pretty surprising ways. She didn't end up acting in the film, but her intense focus on that project led her to become a powerful producer and promoter for it instead. And that move massively amplified her influence and helped cement her media empire. So what is going on here? How does this actually work? Well, let's get into the science of how a simple vision can literally rewire your brain. The scientific name for all this is visualization. You've probably heard top athletes talk about it. They call it mental rehearsal. And it's such a powerful tool because of one simple, fascinating, and kind of weird fact about our brains. Here it is. Your brain has a really hard time telling the difference between something you physically experience and something you just vividly imagine in detail. When you mentally rehearse something, your brain creates and strengthens neural pathways almost exactly as if you were physically doing it. And the proof for this is just incredible. There was a famous study that took 2 groups of piano students. One group physically practiced a piece of music every day. The other group, they just sat there and imagined practicing it. They never touched the keys. The results were mind-blowing. The mental practice group showed physical changes in their brain structure that were 50% as effective as the group that actually played. Visualization literally changes your brain. So now that we get the why behind it all, you're probably asking, okay, I'm sold. How do I actually make one? Let's get practical. Here's a simple 4-step blueprint you can use to build your own. Okay, let's break it down. First, get a big board. Give yourself some creative space to dream. Second, just brainstorm without any limits. What do you really want? How do you want to feel every day? Third, go find images that capture that exact feeling. And then, this is key, put a favorite photo of yourself right in the center. And finally, step 4, you're going to write your goals next to each image and you're going to give them a specific date.
All right, making the board is the fun part, but making it effective, making it actually work, that's where a few simple but absolutely crucial rules come in.
And rule number 1 is the most important one of all, so listen up. You must write your goals as if they have already happened. Do not write, I want to earn $1 million. That just trains your brain to stay in a state of wanting. Instead, you write, I have earned $1 million by December 2028. See that shift? This programs your subconscious for the state of having.
Now, the second critical rule is all about avoiding the number one mistake that most people make, and that is imagining only the easy, picture-perfect win. To make this a truly powerful tool, you have to visualize the entire story. See the challenges coming. Picture the setbacks, the hard work, the moments you want to quit. And then see yourself pushing through, overcoming those obstacles. And then see yourself achieving the goal. This prepares your brain for the reality of the journey. So when you hit a roadblock, your brain doesn't panic. It thinks, oh yeah, I've seen this part of the movie before. I know what to do. Let's keep going. When you really think about it, your brain is constantly building a model of reality for you based on what you feed it. It's creating a blueprint. So the only question left is, why wouldn't you want to give it a better one to work with?
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and help us build the hype. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.